Star Wars 7 by 7 episode 2063. Well, I keep wanting to talk with you about that story arc from Season 3 of the Clone Wars that bears upon the events of Season 7 right now. But amazing things keep happening in the world of Star Wars. And in particular, yesterday's big news, Bob Iger stepping down as CEO of Disney. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Dwaybot, and this is Star Wars 7 by 7. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. So, yes, this was a bit of a surprise in one sense because it was announced late in the day on a Tuesday with no warning per se, and there was a hastily scrambled investors call, and people are scratching their chins and scratching their heads wondering what the heck is going on. On the other hand, it's not exactly a surprise because Iger has been talking about retirement for a while and his contract has been extended multiple times, so it's certainly something on his mind, and him putting out the Ride of a Lifetime book, that's certainly a moment to stop and evaluate one's career and all that good stuff. But be that as it may, surprise or not surprise, succession planning has been in the works for quite a long time, and they decided yesterday was the day. It doesn't mean Iger is leaving entirely. In fact, here is what Bob Iger has to say about the situation.
About a half an hour ago, we announced that Bob Chapek has been named Chief Executive Officer of the Walt Disney Company, effective immediately. I have assumed the role of Executive Chairman and will continue to direct the company's creative endeavors while also leading the board. This is an exciting day for Disney, an historic day, and I'm thrilled for Bob. I've worked closely with him for many years and have absolute confidence in his abilities, as does the board. As CEO, Bob will oversee all of the company's business segments and corporate functions, and we will work closely together through the end of 2021 to further the company's strategic objectives and to ensure a smooth and successful transition.
And here is your new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, and a few thoughts from him.
At Disney, our mission is simple: to entertain, inform, and inspire people around the globe through the power of unparalleled storytelling. Storytelling is at the heart of everything that we do, and I believe we do it better than anyone. And that's reflected in the strong connection that we share with fans and consumers worldwide. My priority as CEO, working with our incredibly talented management team, is to continue the growth and stewardship of this great brand while preserving its rich legacy. I share Bob's commitment to creative excellence, technological innovation, and international expansion, and I will embrace these same strategic pillars going forward. We will continue to pursue bold innovation, thoughtful risk-taking, and the creative storytelling that is the lifeblood of our company, and our achievements to date will serve as the foundation for the future.
Now, as you might imagine, one of the biggest questions on everybody's mind is why now? And when they opened up the investor call for questions, that was the very first question that was asked. And so here is Bob Iger's response about that.
As you know, we recently acquired 21st Century Fox, the closing of the deal sometime in 2019, and then we deployed our new direct-to-consumer strategy with the launch of ESPN Plus and then Disney Plus. So the company's gotten larger and the company's gotten more complex just in the recent 12 months. And I felt that with the asset base in place and with our strategy essentially deployed, that I should be spending as much time possible on basically the creative side of our businesses, because with the asset base in place and the strategy in place, that becomes the biggest priority. And in thinking about what I want to accomplish before I leave the company at the end of 21, getting everything right creatively would be my number one goal. I could not do that if I were running the company on a day-to-day basis. It just obviously takes that much time and is so complex. And so the goal was for me to turn over the day-to-day management of the company to Bob, with direct authority over all of our businesses and basically all elements of the company, and free me up just to basically focus on the creative side. It was really that simple. It was not accelerated for any particular reason other than we felt the need was now to make this change. We've been engaged as a board in a really comprehensive and very serious succession process, and we have identified Bob actually quite some time ago as a likely successor to mine, and with everything else falling in place, the time seemed right. This gives him the opportunity also to work with me over the next number of months to create the smoothest possible transition so that when I leave, he will be familiar with all elements of the company, not just those that he's already managed, but those that he will now begin to manage in his new role.
And then when Iger was asked to clarify a little bit and talk about the possibility of creating the position of a chief creative officer, here's what he had to say.
And with regard to your question about a chief creative officer, no. I actually intend to work very closely with Bob as I direct the creative efforts of the company. My goal is that when I leave here, he'll be just as steeped in all matters creative at the company as I am today. And I thought if we were to either give me the title of Chief Creative Officer or name someone, it would imply that we had a need, and I don't think that's the case.
So there you go. And I've got a couple more thoughts to share with you about this, which I'll do right after the break. Stay tuned. Hey Rebel Rouser, I've made some changes to the asteroid belt level at patreon.com/SW7X7, and they are all with sponsors in mind. So if you want to get the word out about your business, your product, your service to a dedicated Star Wars audience, then please check out patreon.com/SW7X7 and look for the asteroid belt level for details. Again, that's patreon.com/SW7X7. Welcome back. So a couple of things. First of all, Bob Chapek has been around for quite a long time, 27 years, and most recently being involved with Disney Parks, he oversaw Galaxy's Edge's expansion, so that would be definitely a positive sign where they're saying, hey, that did really well, we definitely feel good about this succession business. So that's number one. And the other thing with Bob Iger himself, yeah, he's not stepping down. His contract ends at the end of 2021. And as he noted, the creative side of things is definitely of prime importance, especially when you think about the fact that Disney Plus has just kicked off, and so they have to make sure that they have whatever their creative plans are for it going forward and being able to feed that beast taken care of. Then there's the question of Lucasfilm. We're at the end of the Skywalker saga, so what comes next? There's the question of Marvel. We finished phase 3 of the cinematic universe over there, and what's next? I mean, yes, we have movies on the slate, but what does it mean for the grand strategy? And I know in some circles there had been talk about Kevin Feige being potentially groomed as a replacement, but clearly this is not going to happen, or at least not anytime soon. Bob Chapek's contract apparently goes through February of 2023, so he's got his first 3 years ready to go. And it looks like he's being groomed to be basically the next Bob Iger. He will be the 7th CEO in Disney's nearly 100-year history, and so it's a pretty interesting time to see what's happening with Disney, but Iger is certainly picking a great time to go out on a high note considering everything that he's done with Disney. So there you go. That is the big news from yesterday. Iger stepping down as CEO, but continuing to work on the creative side of the business through the end of his contract in December of 2021. That is going to do it for this episode of the show as well. Thank you so much for joining me for it, as always. And may the Force be with you, wherever in the galaxy you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2020 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.